the demo that we made before going and working with Ariel, our arrangement and like structure of the song, like the order that all the parts were in was completely different. And like we took that whole coming in and out of like one of us singing at a time, we took that like even further in the demo.
Ariel pointed out, he's like, well, narratively, this is just like confusing. Like, I don't know, like what.
Yeah, like what perspective am I paying attention to? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Like, it should be centered around like one kind of main vocal, and then we can all just sort of play around with harmonies and vocals and whatnot. So I bet if we heard that demo now, it'd be like really confusing.
Yeah,
there's like no chorus. There's like no chorus.
There was no chorus.
It doesn't sound like a song.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a song.
Yeah.
The first day I Don't Want to Talk was being born. Basically, we went just to this studio and we basically, the first idea, we just said like, let's just play something, first idea. So then I just picked up a guitar and just did the riff, like the burn arrow, but down, whatever. I remember after that was down, we each just got a microphone and just started singing melodies. And then that kind of sat around for like a year and a half, I would say. Even more, because we just kind of forgot about it, you know? And, you know, one day we're, you know, sipping on some coffee and, you know, things get brought up. What about that old song called G and then C? Because the chords are G and then C. We're very, you know, that's how we name songs. We brought that back around for the album, showed it to Ariel, showed it to the label, you know, management, everyone. It's like, that's a good song. We're like, okay, whatever. So we'll try to work on it. And then we basically worked on it.
Yeah, we made the song by making the song, essentially.
Yeah.
Right? That's like
that's kind of how that happened. That's kind of how that happened.
If I reflect, look back on that other place and time, when you left for a while and I kinda lost my mind.
I mean, the opening line was sort of, it really was just to set the scene and sort of set up the song lyrically. Like, you know, that line means, you know, my significant other, this person's significant other, they left somewhere for a while. And it almost feels like that first time that you have separation from someone that you care about, or that is sort of like your rock or your anchor, it sort of puts into perspective how much of like an emotional and mental anchor that they are for you. It makes you realize a lot about yourself when that person is away. And that's sort of what the whole song is about, but also like that was the point of setting the scene for the first verse.
Realize the older I get more insecure. If I don't have you by my side, then I can't be sure.
So the realize the older I get more insecure. If I don't have you by my side, then I can't be sure. That I feel like that sort of is in line with the line that comes before it, in which when this person that you care about so much is away from you for so long for the first time, that person gives you confidence, and you don't realize that until they're gone. And then you realize, oh, I feel like I've actually become less of a confident person, and I'm sort of relying on this person for my confidence because I do feel so confident with them. For me, like, I feel like as I have gotten older, I have sort of become more insecure and more unsure of certain things about myself. Like, I feel like when we were 13, I feel like we're at like our most confident.
We were such little assholes.
I would say we were assholes. We were like,
yeah.
I mean, I just think it's stages. I think when you're so, I hope it's stages, because yeah, when you're so young, there's a point where like you don't care about anything. You're super naive. The world's ahead of you. Everything's chill. You just, you know, do whatever you got to do. You know, watch TV, whatever you got to do. And then you get to a point where like self-realization comes into play, which everyone knows. It's a human experience. And then basically, I'm looking forward to the day where I'm like 70 years old and just like, wow, back to the beginning. You know what I mean? I don't care about anything. Let's go. You know. So it's gonna be fun.
I'm not alright, but I don't need comfort. I don't want to talk. So could you tell me that it's over? Tell me that it's over. Tell me that it's over now. Then I could shut this off.
I feel like it's hard for me or anyone to really know what it is that you need when you're not feeling all right. I feel like that's a really hard thing to find. And I think that from the narrative standpoint of the song, it's basically implying it's just gonna be easier on me if we just don't talk about this, and I'm just gonna sit and torture myself over this. I would rather not face the problem, or I don't wanna cause problems, because it feels like I'm just being a pot stirrer or something. Because the song really is about feeling insecure and feeling like this other person's head is going to be turned while they're away. And so it's basically saying like, well, I don't wanna seem like anything's a problem because I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be this person that is the burden in your life while you're away. I want to let you have your fun and do your thing. And I don't want to be a problem for you. I don't want to make a problem out of nothing because it's probably nothing, even though I'm making it something.
I went to send you off, felt off by what I saw there. Him in the leopard pattern coat that you wished you'd share. You in your brand new sweatsuit and your fresh platinum hair. Your Fiora and Conkin's packed and I watch him stare.
Yeah, the first line of this verse isn't necessarily completely literal. Like I'm not, there's no exact situation in which I'm talking about, and it's more of a general standpoint of feeling intimidated by a person that's around my girlfriend and sort of or this other person in the song. And feeling like they have better style than you, they look cooler than you, they're more exciting than you, and feeling like that's going to be a thing that turns this person's head. And so I did just want to create a visual though, like a leopard pattern coat. Like it's just it just puts an image in your head right away. And I was like, and it sings well. I was like, leopard pattern coat that you with. Like I feel like it just sang well and was rhythmic.
I feel like the leopard pattern coat sort of represents like someone who's not you, like the threat to your relationship, but is also someone who's like confident enough to wear like a leopard pattern coat, you know, because that.
I almost wore mine today.
There you go. There you go. Brings the threat.
Oh, no.
Feeling like my mind's wiped, he looks more like your type. If I leave you tonight, will you leave your eyes wide? Bet he didn't think first when he did a crowd surf. Effortlessly expert, attention grabber. Don't usually cry, but looks like that's over. I start to lose sight of myself and I wish I could shut it off.
But this one, I knew I was going to sing the bridge because we just agreed upon that. And I just, you know.
We negotiated it.
Yeah, we negotiated it. You know, we got there, you know, 60-40. Dylan was just kind of really, you know, being spot on with the lyrics, you know, like as you know, hearing all these lyrics. So I was just like, I don't really want to attempt to write a bridge, you know? Like I was like, Dylan, just keep doing your thing. So then he just presented these lines to me and I loved them. I was like, this is sick. I mean, I loved like the constant different words. Like, I mean, I guess that's how songs work. But I love.
That is something about our writing process. I feel like most of the time, 95% of the time, we write melodies, like very specific melodies before lyrics, which can really create a difficult writing process. Because sometimes songs don't come to fruition for a long time purely because we can't fit lyrics to the melodies in ways that we feel like suit the song best a lot of the time. And that was something that was, I feel like, going to be a challenge going into writing the song. But actually it just kind of, once I found what I wanted to write about and it was honest, it just sort of all fell into place like surprisingly quickly. It was an interesting thing to fill in the gaps of such a specific fast melody that is sort of the rhythm of this section now that the drums kind of like drop out.
I think in those moments of insecurity in a relationship, the insecurity is inside you, so then it can manifest in these ways of jealousy and arguments. And so then, yeah, like being self-aware enough to be like, you know what, I'm just going to like absolutely bottle this up because I know that it's an issue within me, it's not you. So I just have to be the one to like go through it. And acknowledging that issue or that insecurity doesn't necessarily mean that like it's just going to go away. So it's like, I don't want to talk, but like, I'm still going to be feeling this right now.